This is the Grow Business Podcast with Cory Mosley.
Like 6. Is that convention center?
No, it's at Marriott.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was down the one off of 19th Street.
No, it's at the Marriott.
Okay.
Well, you've been asking about it. You threatening to show up? Or what?
I was thinking about it. Yeah,
Okay.
I was trying to see if I could pull it off because that's part of my, I'm in that area.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Well,
Well, now it's part of my area.
Well, come on down. Put you to work. It'd be like old times. All right.
Exactly.
That mindless commentary means that you have joined another episode. Sometimes it's intentional, folks. Sometimes Willie H is just a little loose on push and record, I think. Yeah, we're going to have to. The views expressed before the show actually starts are not the views of our public persona. No, we're happy to have you here. If you are wondering where you clicked play on and found us by accident, you have joined the Grow Business Podcast. I'm your host, Cory Mosley. Yeah, he did all right. And I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, LG007. Lon Graham is here.
Voice of reason.
It's good to be here, Cory.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, well, not you're welcome, but yes, it is good to be here. Yes, I accept that. Yay. Yay, exactly. And the guy pushing the buttons is the guy you know and love. Willie H is here. Hit the buttons, William. He's hitting them.
That's so perfect.
Yeah, we've got another great show for you here today. I think so, at least. And that's the baseline of how this show runs.
Well, my ESPN says it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, I said that's good. Your ESPN?
ESPN.
Okay. All right, we'll learn what that acronym is later. What's going on? How you been, LG007?
Living the dream, buddy.
Living the dream. All
Yes,
right.
indeed.
I love it. I love it. Well, if this is your first time joining us, welcome. You're in the right place. We're focused on doing one thing that's helping you grow your business. Now, if you're not in business, you might be at the wrong podcast. I still aim to entertain, but there's probably the most value given if you are a business owner or a leader inside an organization. You're running a company. Right. There's also a lot of value, there to what we're talking about because these things are applicable across that process. And, as we love to say, we're not here to be your gurus, but we are here to give you some tips, tactics, and strategies that we think will make you more effective. Some things that have been proven along the way in our careers, and really some things that are happening right now that we need to be paying attention to.
Yes.
So rest assured, you can stream us all over. So if you don't like the platform you're on right now, we're probably on the other platform too. Just search Grow Business Podcast with Cory Mosley on all the major sites. And you can also look at us on YouTube if you like. If you're into that, if you're into voyeurism in your podcasting, you can do that as well. So one thing's for sure, we like to have fun here.
That's right. Well, if they're watching us on YouTube, they can see that really nice jacket.
Yeah, well, and right back at you there.
Appreciate you.
So I'm pocket squareless though. But so you got a little thing. Yours might go better with mine. I might have to take that off you for the end of the show. Who knows? Who knows? Well, we do have another great show for you today. We try to look at topics and talk about things that are going on in the marketplace. And honestly, as I think about it, some things that you might not be thinking about.
Right.
And I think that's part of what we're going to talk about today because LG and if you don't know, I intentionally try not to tell Lon anything about the show and the show that we're doing. So he generally is waiting with bated breath and just prepare. I like that preparedness, yet wondering what's going on. It's not going to be too far out of our wheelhouse. So that's the one thing for sure.
Right.
But today, folks, we are talking about, are you ready for this, LG?
Yes.
We're going to be talking about the ways that luck and going with your gut can positively contribute to your success, or we're doing the pros and cons.
There you go.
Or can have a negative effect on your ability to grow your business.
Wow, this is a great lane.
Yeah, you like that one.
To do pros and cons because there are some clearly identifiable separators.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's good.
Well, and I can tell you uniquely, I mean, just to even start with the story, I can tell you that luck and going with my gut at the last minute contributed to some of the most success I ever had in terms of acquiring a new client.
Yes.
From a revenue standpoint, from a relationship standpoint, it was making a decision, changing my mind because I had a feeling, changing my mind about a situation, pursuing a speaking opportunity that I was not going to do because I didn't, the fee I didn't think was worth it, the cost and expense.
Right.
I'd spend more than what I'd be making, and I'd done a variation of the event multiple times, and I wasn't, the main stage keynote.
Right.
It was, going to be in a breakout, and like all these reasons to say no. And in the 11th hour, literally to push the button to accept or not accept, or to accept, because otherwise it just, the slot would have went to somebody else.
Right.
Like when I say the 11th hour, I'm talking like 11:57.
Right.
In a midnight
PM on
cutoff.
midnight cutoff. Right.
Yeah. And that led to, some of the most interesting relationships, a great relationship that I have to this day. Because that was almost 10 years ago, or was a little over 10 years ago that moment happened. So you can't tell me there ain't such thing as luck or being in the right place or really having that feeling. But let's see what that looks like.
Right. Well, there's pros and cons, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's why
course.
we're having this conversation.
Yeah, of course. All right, let's hop right in. We're in the express lane today, so we're not gonna. I mean, unless I feel the spirit,
right?
Then we could be here 4 hours. Okay, so let's just jump right into that because I think this is important because a lot of people struggle with making decisions,
right?
Because we don't know. I deal with this with coaching clients all the time. It's like I'd love to have the definitive answer for you,
right?
And in many ways, we can speak from experiences, or we may, there are times when it's like, do exactly this to get this outcome,
right?
You bake a cake. I mean, we love to use that analogy, right? If I go to the shelf and get the Duncan Hines cake, and I do what it tells me to do exactly,
right?
Bake time, ingredients, measurements, I'm almost certain going to get the cake the right way.
Right.
I take a phone call and let it bake 5 minutes too long. It says 6 eggs. I only got 4. I'm too lazy to go to the grocery store.
Right.
Like all of those things have the variation. So there really is these situations where people are struggling to somebody's struggling to make a decision right now, and they're trying to figure out what's the right thing to do. And the internet's not helping because there's 10 people telling you this is exactly what you should do. And there's 10 people telling you whatever you do, don't do that.
Right. Well, and that's exactly right, Cory, because you can find the answer you're looking for and you can find reasons not to.
Yeah, 100%. And it's, I've got a feeling. So let's talk about, let's talk about gut. Let's talk about luck.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll tell you, I mean, if you watch the videos like where they interview billionaires and all these people, like they will openly talk about luck.
Mm-hmm.
And we could argue how you manifest that. That's a different episode, manifestation and self-talk, positive self-talk. And, RIP to Bob Proctor, who, that his whole career was based on vibration and energy and those type of things. So whether you believe in that or not, luck is a thing.
Yes.
So, all right, let's talk about this. So let's talk a few of these. Number one, luck and both gut feelings, we'll kind of package them together, but it allows you to seize unexpected opportunities.
Right. So we're doing the pros first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just in it already. So,
okay. Yeah.
I mean, you know what we could do? We can toggle.
That'll work.
Think that'd be too confusing?
Probably.
Okay.
It'd be too confusing. It'd be too confusing for us.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll stay with the pros.
Yeah.
So seize unexpected opportunities. So luck can present unforeseen opportunities that when acted upon can lead to significant business growth.
Right.
Also, gut feelings in that same vein can help drive quick decision making, which allows an entrepreneur or business owner to capitalize on opportunities swiftly.
Yes. And what people underappreciate in that gut feeling, most of that's based on your experience and based on what you've done in your life, whether it's your experience or somebody else's experience that they've shared with you. And the reason that the people that are successful trust it or because they've learned that that is something that they can benefit from.
Right.
And so, that gut feeling, what was the Malcolm Gladwell book, Blank?
Yeah.
And the 15 seconds, and you can make an assessment within the first 15 seconds, and you are typically right 75, 80% of the time, whatever the number is.
Right.
It's been a while since I've read it, but there's something real there.
Yeah.
And if you deny your gut, I've denied my gut when I shouldn't have, and I've overridden my gut when I shouldn't have.
Right.
And I got exactly what I should have got.
And listen, you can, whatever your spirituality is, right? That could be, we call it gut, instinct, intuition. We can call that,
Faith.
Maybe it's God talking to you, right? From that perspective. It's that feeling. I find that with people, like meetings that using that 15-second thing.
Right.
Like people that I feel I'm whether going to connect with or not, despite what the world may think of whatever. I mean, there are people I know that I just am not, just not for me.
Right.
But they may be for some other people, or there's just a sixth sense that I get sometimes about certain people that many times in some way or some capacity proves itself to be true.
Right.
And I see that, listen, I'm going to talk about it, but like I see that a lot of time. I meet many people of faith that are very faith driven. They're very boisterous and outspoken about their faith.
Right.
And then I see a situation in a restaurant happen and they turn into a completely different person.
Right.
They're dressing somebody up and down, berating them.
Right.
And I'm like, there's a misalignment in that behavior. Is that public versus private persona? I think one of the things I'll never be accused of is being a different person in public than private. Now I may be quieter in different. I'm probably more quiet in public than if I'm not working or being paid to be on stage or something like that than I am. But personality, Willie H. will attest, has known me 30 years, that it's not, I don't make changes, Well,
there's a difference in being adaptable and being different.
Yeah.
And
true. Yes.
And so, you can adapt to a situation because sometimes it doesn't require that you be the center of attention. But if you're on stage, you got to bring it. So you got to adapt to that.
Sure.
One of the things that I used to do, we talk about the gut and this feeling, is when I was in a sales leadership role, I would interview potential sales candidates and I would take them out into the field and I would introduce them to some of my best clients and have them have a brief conversation with my best clients. And I would tell the client, I said, hey, look, I'm interviewing a candidate. You mind if I bring them by so that you can meet them? Because the person that I hire is going to be working with them.
Yes.
And then when that was done, I would go back to that client and say, look, I'm going to make the hiring decision. So I'm not putting any burden on you.
Right.
But what I want to know is, what does your gut tell you about that person?
Yes.
And when I put it in that perspective and when I set it up that way, they were going to be open about it. And we had built enough relational capital that we could be open that way. And they could say, Lon, it didn't feel good or it did feel good. It wasn't their burden to make the decision, but by getting their feedback and learning from it. So that's a piece of this gut thing that we're talking about. And if you don't feel something, listen to it. If your gut's telling you don't, listen to it. And if your gut's telling you to, listen to that too, because there's probably something on the other side for you that's good.
And I think about, when you hear the stories of, something told me not to get on that plane.
Right.
Something told me not to go here today.
Right.
And you're thinking to yourself, what was that message? What was that?
Right.
What was that situation? Are you listening to it or not?
Right.
I was having lunch with someone today, and she was talking about her husband finding out that he had, that was getting diagnosed, and he didn't feel well. He said they were supposed to get on a plane to come home.
Right.
And he said, my heart's not feeling good, not feeling well. I don't feel good in my heart. And they, in the airport, you got access to a lot, right? Those EMTs, those people are there for the activity.
Right.
So they were able to get into a hospital locally and diagnose him and, put him on the mend. But she said, had he just been home, he would have, walked it off or slept it off or not taken medical action.
Correct.
So it's even the positions you've been in to find that. We were talking to another acquaintance of ours who was having a colonoscopy.
Okay.
Fun.
Right. Important.
They nicked him while he was having, they made him a surgical error, whatever, while you're up in there. I don't know yet, but fishing around and they nicked something. And because of that, because I was already like, how many Allens did he call? Did he call Allen? Folks, that's a law firm here, big law firm here. Right. But, who was he calling, right? Nicked me doing surgery, cha-ching.
Right.
That's what I was thinking. But then she said it was a gift.
Right.
That's the way they found out he had pancreatic cancer.
Oh.
And most people medically don't find out about things like pancreatic cancer until it's too late.
Right. It's
more of a late stage diagnosis for people, and then many times it's too late.
Right.
So that era became a gift. He's alive today, and I was 15 years ago. So they were able to get in there, get it out, and so, man, talk about making lemons out of lemonade.
Right.
There's just something to that, how things happen. So, and the next thing really is building valuable relationships.
Yes.
So this idea, it's a serendipitous meeting, right? That created this partnership or this mentorship or this relationship, and that happens a lot unintentionally. Like I said, I just think about clients. One of my first clients 20 years ago, who is a great friend today, as family. I've watched his children grow up. In fact, we will be at an event for a graduation party for his children in a few weeks. Right. He was my first client. He's been an investor in various projects that I've done. So just really not old enough to be my dad. So more of a mentor and big brother, because we don't have that age gap's not that much different. But that was somebody referred him to me, and I tell the story. It was early in my consulting career and when I mean early in consulting career, where I didn't have any clients, like real early, real early.
Right.
And I always tell the story. Like, I remember because he called me at 8:30 in the morning while I was still asleep. And I remember answering the phone, like half asleep.
Right.
And he's like, so-and-so told me I should call you. And I'm like, call me at 9 maybe or 9:30. Like, hey, I'm not busy right now, so I'm sleeping. You know what I mean? Right. I'm not busy, so I don't have a reason to be up right now. I'm starting to consult. But then there goes the stars. But the kicker to that story is there was another person in my life who was influencing me in a way I didn't get at the time. Okay. That almost cost me that relationship. There was a period of time that me and this person did not speak because a third party person had influenced me to make some wrong decisions about the relationship. Right. And that person's not around, but thank God, again, I was brought back, to the relationship with this person. Dude, that's all. I mean, I guess we can do a whole show about faith and beliefs, but there's just something going on there in terms of intuition and behavior and how things line up.
Right.
Woo. When the church say amen, that was an appropriate drop
that
there.
That was perfect, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and I could go back to something that I was wondering whether or not I should say out loud that led me to be sitting in this chair because I met you through the National Speakers Association. And I remember in the very first time I had a conversation with, and I'll shout out to Jessie Collier. I met Jessie one night at a event and we were talking and she's like, well, what do you, what's next for you? Because I was selling my franchise and she said, what's next for you? And I said, well, I think I want to be a professional speaker and talk about sales and sales leadership. And I said it to her. Before I said that to her though, I said, well, if I'm going to manifest this, I need to say it out loud.
Right.
And Jessie, you're the first person other than my father that I've said this to. And in that conversation, she goes, oh, well, do you know Mary Foley, who at the time was the president of the NSA Virginia chapter, which Mary invited me to come, which is where we met.
Yep.
and have gotten to know each other and become friends. And now all the things that we have done and continue to do together. But it's,
Try to get me drunk by bringing me all that bourbon and whiskey to my house.
Well, you had the cigars, so I had to bring something.
I had never had whiskey. I had, it was a tasting party.
And how did we do?
Yeah.
We did good, right?
We did good, yeah.
But the point is I remember very specifically when Jessie asked me that question. She goes, "So what's next for you?" I paused for a second and said, "Well, the only way I'm going to be able to manifest this is if I say it out loud." Well, I didn't know what it was going to turn into, but trusting your gut to be able to say something that you want or something that puts yourself in a position.
Right.
So when we talk about gut feelings and luck, there's an element that those two go together, because when you trust your gut to put yourself in a position, you are luckier.
Voice. I was going to hold until he got it. Yeah, I was going to hold until he figured out that a button deserved to be pushed there. So yeah. He was enthralled. Yeah, exactly.
So, and there's hundreds of stories for both of us, and and William H. and all the people that we know.
Yeah, 100%. All right, innovative solutions.
Yes.
Lucky Breaks can provide insights or resources that lead to innovative solutions and competitive advantages.
Yes.
A gut feeling can inspire creative ideas and unconventional strategies that differentiate your business.
Yes.
Market timing. Oh, go ahead.
No,
I was on a roll.
Yeah. Well, you're going. No, you're going. I know. I also know that we're,
No. Well, let's get it. What were you going to say?
I forget now.
Okay. Market timing. Luck can play a role in launching products or services at the perfect time when market demand is high.
Yes.
There's a lot of people capitalizing. There was a big situation in the automotive industry recently relative to a big technology company that fell victim to one of the ransom hacks. And it affected 14,000 businesses, and those businesses being car dealers.
Oh, okay.
And I think there was something like a $12 million ransom.
Ooh.
And, they had control of all the systems. So you literally could not take delivery of a car at a car dealership for, a week.
Oh, wow.
Which is detrimental. I mean, the fallout of that. Now, there are companies who are now benefiting from that. My buddy has a tech company that's, not unsecure, apparently, that, is backed by Microsoft's cloud system and all these other kind of factors. And he's seeing a windfall.
Good.
He's signing new people, left and right as a fallout from this other company. So perfect timing. Luck. Luck having his product ready for prime time, or, as they say, stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Yeah. And we've talked about this in previous episodes too, Cory. COVID did some things for us and COVID did some things to us, right? Mm-hmm. And there are people that were, to them, COVID was lucky for their business.
Right.
And the luck is there were opportunities that they were able to take advantage of because they were prepared to do that.
That's right.
It's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And by take advantage of opportunities, we don't mean, those who took the PPP money and went to the Maldives.
Right. No, we're talking about, maximizing your business, making a great impact.
Go ahead. No, Willie H. got something. Hold on, Buckaroo. Yeah, exactly. Right. Oh, I maximized my opportunity. Maximize my opportunity.
All right.
Okay. Resilience and adaptability. Fortuitous events. I'm rolling out all the tongue twisters today. Fortuitous events can help businesses survive tough times by providing unexpected resources or support. It's like, getting some check that you didn't know you were, that was out there, or I found the other day that like we had like affiliate payments sitting in a PayPal account that I didn't know about, like a notice, or something happened on their end, a glitch that we never got that money or something like that. So it's just like, oh, how fortuitous.
Fortuitous. There you go. That's good.
Right? So gut instincts also, drive adaptive thinking and a willingness to pivot when necessary.
Right.
As you just see lanes, there are lanes that we see now in certain aspects of our business that we didn't see early on, or opportunities that are presenting themselves that we didn't see. But you got to be in it, right? The energy is always right. It's not negative energy. There's optimism. There's things that are out there. That's always, I think that's why how good teams come together too, right? So there's not my friend Walter Bond says you can have a pity party, right? You just can't have a pity party for days and weeks,
right?
You can be frustrated. You can be upset. You can have negative moments.
Right.
You don't want to have negative days.
Right.
You don't want to have negative weeks. You don't have negative months.
Right.
Because then you're going to have a negative year.
Right. Yeah, and then a negative year turns into a negative career and all.
Yeah, Willie H is itching his leg, so we can't get any get a drop on that. I mean, that was golden right there. That's going to become an internet clip.
That's a clip.
You can clean it up now. You got anything over there? What? Woo! Church say amen. I really got to drive this ship here. People are asleep at the wheel. Huh? You got to get some. You got to get something for that. Willie H has got the itches going on. Okay. I'm gonna set up a fourth camera, so it just cuts to Willie H.
Turn that Ring camera on.
Yeah. I'm turning around, get the Ring camera for real behind the scenes.
Right, exactly.
All right. What are your thoughts about that? Did you comment on that? I don't remember.
Yeah, the answer is yes. It's look, Walter Bond's comment about the pity party, right? You can have it. You can have it. You just can't have it forever.
Right.
And that's true. The thing that I talk about a lot is when you have a destination in mind, you know where you're going. That gives you guidance and direction on the way things are going to happen.
Okay.
And so let's say you're driving there and you run into a detour. Well, that detour is designed to protect you. It's designed to keep you from going off a cliff or keep you from driving into a hole in the road or keep you from driving off of a bridge that's not finished. So things happen and you've got to, and you're going to have gut feelings about that.
Right.
You've got to trust your gut that's going to tell you to go around. You got to trust your gut that's going to tell you to keep going towards that thing. You just may have to do it in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the gut feeling is if you have this burning desire in your gut to accomplish something, you're going to realize that not everything's going to work out exactly the way that you planned.
Right.
And trust that you're going in the right direction. You just may have to go a different way.
Well, I feel like that is, I feel like people force themselves into decisions that maybe they don't want.
Okay.
And, I just remember, this is probably a completely inappropriate story, but I think about it in the context of dating.
Okay.
In many ways.
Sure.
Okay. And what I mean by that, I'm adjusting the story in real time in my head right now. But what I mean by that is there are people who have a gut feeling about a situation.
Right.
And won't take action on that just because.
Right.
Right. So even if the situation feels right.
Right.
They don't necessarily, I can't do that.
Right.
Right. Even though I want to do that.
Right.
But I think from a business perspective, somebody will look at something or they'll want to go with something.
Right.
But, I need to wait for this reason or that reason.
Right.
Or, we had somebody in the office today, fellow business owner, and we were just, and I'm sure for our listeners who obviously are entrepreneurs, business owners themselves, when you get around your people, so to speak, right, that you can, talk about, client issues and, just dumb stuff that happens and, those types of things. And you remain positive while doing it, but you it's a great vent opportunity to have a conversation. So we would talk about like objections that we get that we just thought, let me check with my accountant. And you've heard this, we've heard this, right? Oh, let me check with my accountant. Well, what if your accountant says no? Your accountant is who drives the success of your business.
Right.
Right. Right. Right? I don't know what
That's
you're...
just
Oh, yeah, there you go. You're giving me the signal. I don't control the buttons.
I was waiting for, I want you to pause.
That's really, okay, yeah, that's really H's job.
Right.
He's giving me the signal. If you guys aren't watching us on YouTube, you have to start checking us out on YouTube because you get the other part of the story here when we're in the studio. Yeah. Right. But like, come on.
Right.
Like, just tell me, just tell me you don't want to do it. Tell me you can't afford it. Tell me something like that. Yeah, I'm going to check with my accountant. Like, that's a cop-out. Well, and I'm sure we have some listeners that potentially were potential clients at some point that if you said that to us, we know.
Right, exactly.
We know that don't blame the accountant. It's like somebody blaming their wife.
Right.
Well, let me check with her when you have no attention. Just say no. Or just say you're not interested. You don't want to do it. Don't lay it on somebody else that chances are we won't be able to talk to validate, you know. Exactly. I'm bumping you in the grocery store. Oh, hey, let me ask you a question. Wife, he blamed you. He said, Judy, was that true? Right. And then watch them just turn all kinds of red.
Right. Exactly. Well, and that's, that's a lot like you have a feeling, but you don't act on that feeling.
Right.
Because what will they think? Whoever they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who is they?
Who is they, right?
Yep.
And who really cares?
Yep. Exactly. So, okay.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's it. That's our symbol to proceed. Okay. Where did I leave off?
The story about dating.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I landed that plane already, like in terms of what I was going to do with that.
Right.
But all right, so we talked about resilience, adaptability, attracting talent as a business owner.
Yes.
Lucky encounters, right, can lead to recruiting exceptional talent, right? Right place, right time. Right. People who can, contribute to the business success. And honestly, that also kind of is, I think that goes to, part of our history too.
Right.
Is that particularly, getting some initial things off the ground that really spoke to your enjoyment of having random conversations with people at marketing events and random events, things that, are not, for me. And it's funny because I will meet people that will listen or have been following me for years or something, because it hasn't changed. My statement on this stuff hasn't changed. Right. Even now being close friends with people in that world, like Dawn Brooks Gullah, shout out to Dawn Brooks Gullah, who is the empress of network marketing, or not network marketing like MLM, but like networking, I should say, is the empress of networking. Even having access to that, like, it doesn't change because she can coach, she can give me a million things to do. Right. And I don't even know it's not about knowing what to do. It's about, I don't want to do them. So I'll get people like, oh, interesting to see you here. I know you hate these things. Right.
Well, and it can, and simultaneously, it can be true that the more you know, the more you appreciate the value of it.
Sure.
And you still have no interest in it.
And it's about people who, think about people who, sales calls. Right. They hate cold calling. Right. So, and I was telling this to a client the other day. I understand you hate cold calling. Right. Well, you better get really good at something else that can have the effect. Right. Right. So, okay, great. You don't want to work the phones. All right. Maybe you'll never be good at it because you are trying to force yourself to be good. Right. Because you have to be, training is everywhere. You're like, you can buy training. You can go to YouTube for training. You can get training free. That's a whole other debate. But training is abundant. Right. Your adaptability and acceptance of the training and implementation of the training also has somewhat to do with your desire. Right. And agreement with the ideas, right? People out there pitching, dishonestly creates its own kind of problem. Correct.
Yeah. I mean, look, I still cold call almost every day. And I remember earlier this week, I walked into a clinic. I'm like, I haven't been in this clinic in a while. It's, they're not really interested in working with me, but I'm going to go in anyway. I mean, look, I've got, I've got just as much.
See, and you love that stuff. I'm like,
I've got just as much, negative thought processes going on in my head as everybody else does. It's just, what do you do with them?
But maybe today's the day.
Well, and so I walk in, and the person who I met with and talked with a couple times, and who had said to me multiple times, we're working with somebody else. We're not interested in working with you right now. I walked in, and somebody else was sitting at the front desk, and I said, "Hey, is she here?" And she goes, "No, she's not with us anymore." So it led to a conversation with a new person.
Yes.
And I knew enough, I could say enough about my conversations with the person who left that the new person knew that I knew what I was talking about.
Right.
And it opened up an opportunity to have a new conversation with somebody in the same clinic, in the same ballpark.
Well, because new people... Yeah, new people sometimes have their own processes. They want to bring their own way in, and they're open to different things. So, I mean, and listen, what you're describing is exactly the reason why people have to understand prospecting is an ongoing activity.
Yes.
It is not a one and done. It is not, I sent 2 emails. They're not interested. They're not buyers. It is, and people ignore statistics that don't serve their belief system. And they ignore things that they don't want to hear, right? So if you tell somebody it's 9 no's to get to a yes, and they don't like to hear that, the majority of people will not make it to 9 because they just don't like it.
Right.
Woo. Well, the church say amen. But it's just true. They don't want to hear it. Oh, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Okay, well then you won't get to the yeses.
Right.
It's just dumb. I mean, it's not complicated, right? The math gets adjusted based on skill.
Yes,
but it's still math, right? A closing ratio, a guy that closes at 60% or a woman that closes at 60% and someone that closes at 30%, it's still math involved. Skill changes the sliding scale. And
the person who is now at 60% was once at 30%, and they got better. Their skill got better because they kept doing it.
Correct. And they got, and again, there's different ways you want to motivate yourself through it. Les Brown talks about know your vitamin and different things, the state of mind that you have to, kind of take on.
Right.
There's a book that comes to my mind. I got to look at, I hate when I have the thought, but I only have half of it. Cause then I can't, now I'm thinking about the author too.
Right.
And, I think it's, I'm going to look it up real quick.
Sure.
It's, this is it. It's called The Alter Ego Effect.
Oh, Todd Herman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Have you read it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's just a very interesting perspective of you basically create a character for yourself.
Yeah.
So it gives you the ability to step away from your fears and take on the persona, right? So you're not rejecting me personally.
Right.
If the answer is no, you're saying no to my alter ego, so to speak, which is perfectly fine with you saying no.
Right. Yeah. And it's interesting because, and this, remember that all these are examples of going with your gut.
Right. Yeah.
The person that recommended that book to me was the person who was my instructor in stand-up comedy school. And he's like, here's a way for you to think about approaching stage and doing stand-up comedy.
Right.
If you think that it would benefit you, but at least you can read it and learn about it. So it's a way to overcome some things, that alter ego. And I recommend it. It is a super, super book.
Yeah.
And there's some really good stories about professionals that you would recognize that use an alter ego. Mm-hmm. The reality of it is this: what we're saying is that when your gut tells you something, you can either choose to listen to it and do something with it and increase the likelihood that you're going to get lucky with it, or you can choose not to. You can either suppress it or ignore it. Mm-hmm. And the reality of it is you're going to decrease your capacity for luck.
Voice of reason. There it is. I love it. I love it. All right, next up, customer insights.
Mm-hmm.
Serendipity. We're back to serendipity now.
Back to serendipity. All right.
Serendipity can bring valuable customer insights or feedback that drive a product or service improvements, and gut reactions to customer interactions can lead to better understanding and meeting their needs. Now, gut reactions And we're talking about this in the positive scenario.
Right.
Because as soon as that left my lips, I started to think about people believing they should be encouraged to speak to customers any old way that is authentic to them. Because I'll read Google reviews. We know somebody, Willie H and I know somebody, that, can't take the criticism. They get a bad Yelp review. They're basically, or go back Google review. They're basically going to do the equivalent. It's like backing somebody in a corner and forcing them to fight.
Right.
And that's how they answer. That's how they respond.
Right.
Well, no, if you don't like it, you don't have to. You don't have to eat it. Get out. We don't want your all of those things. That's just dumb. Yes, and it's just not a great way. Again, business erosion is death by 1,000 cuts.
Right.
So you got your reaction. You feel better about yourself because you blasted a customer because they gave you feedback.
Mm-hmm.
You feel good today. But now I did a video the other day, Lon, where I was talking about I was solicited by somebody, cold email, cold outreach.
Yeah.
I read those emails because I'm a marketer. I'm an observer and a student of the game.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting. I've heard of this product before. Let me take a look at it. So, but I don't go straight from because I don't want them click tracking me. Right. So I don't go straight from the email. I pull up a browser, I type in the company name, and then I go to the Google reviews. Google said 3.1 on the review. So I'm like, let me check this out.
Yeah.
And I looked at it. And then I started seeing, I default to newest because I also don't want to hold somebody liable. Like maybe they got better, right? So I don't want to I don't want 3-year-old review. And maybe you did suck 3 years ago, right? But and I default now I'm seeing 1 star, and I'm seeing all these comments. By the time, sometimes you read a review and it's like this person just sounds disgruntled or this beef really isn't necessarily the fault of the company per se. Like there's some nuance to it, the refund didn't come back fast enough. Well, that could have been your bank account. It could have been a debit card. It takes longer. I don't know. But like it was issue after issue after issue.
Right.
I never made it to the website. I was game over.
Right.
So whatever they're paying for that cold outreach that's trying to create leads, remember the numbers game, right?
Right.
But they've got another issue. This is one of the cornerstones of what I talk about with companies in terms of getting positioned for growth.
Right.
You've got to be positioned in key multiple areas.
Right.
Because great, you got a good cold email campaign that's driving traffic, but if people are taking a detour like I did to look at your reviews, as people do, they look at reviews before they make investments or decisions. If they're looking at that, guess what? They're never getting into. So now what you're going to look at is you're going to go, oh, we had a 13% open rate on our email campaign, but our click-through rate was poor or our conversion rate was poor. It must be the copy.
Right.
It must be the service we're using. It must be, we're gonna fire the agency we're dealing with. How about you improve your Google reviews?
Right.
How about you fix the problem? Listen to what people are saying and work on fixing it.
Right. Well, make the business better. Right. Make the business better. Well, and you go back and you talk about that person that attacks the negative reviews with vigor. All you're doing is proving the negative.
My food's not salty. You just don't know what good food's supposed to taste like.
All you're doing is proving that.
You probably never had any good mac and cheese before. You don't know what it tastes like.
Lord
have mercy. Yeah, get it.
Lord have mercy.
Exactly. All right. So customers. So risk management.
Yeah.
Luck can sometimes prevent or mitigate risks that drive data-driven approaches. Might miss.
Right.
Intuitive decision making can also balance analytical approaches to help you navigate certain things. Because it's not all. There are plenty of people who've made decisions that technically should have worked out or should have been good decisions, but weren't for other reasons they ignored.
Right.
It's kind of like hiring the wrong person. They look so good on paper, like that's technical, but your gut told you.
Right.
Something ain't right here.
Right.
I don't know what it is. I can't, as they say, put my finger on it.
Right.
But I know something ain't right. And I'm saying ain't on purpose, folks. I don't need oratory correction. Right. But something ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
But you ignore it.
Right.
We know people who've done that. We've maybe done that as hirers over the years in different capacities.
Right.
It looks, they look good. They worked here. They did this. They have this education.
Right.
Something I just don't know. And then, you find out whatever it was. They're selling cocaine in the back of the building or something. I mean, who knows?
Right.
Who knows? Hold on, Buckaroo. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm just thinking about, I've been around different sales organizations in years where they have done those kinds of things.
You didn't just make that up.
Yeah, I didn't. Right, didn't just make it up. Go ahead, but no, I'm banned.
Yeah, no.
Cory, you can't say cocaine on the.
It's medicinal. Have mercy.
Complete your thought.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing I'll say is that, statistics. So let's talk about, people love throwing out statistics to validate or to either validate the position or to defend their position or to deny their position. The reality of it is this, very few things are 100%.
Yeah.
Very few things are 100%.
Yep.
So if something happens 60% of the time, that means 40% of the time it doesn't. Well, how do you know where your opportunity lies?
Right.
And what we're talking about here is sometimes the luckiest people are the people that trusted their gut and leaned into something that they felt was the right thing to do. And because they did what they felt was the right thing to do, what they also did was they were emotionally invested in that activity, which increased their likelihood of being lucky.
Yeah.
So these things run together. They run in parallel lanes, and sometimes they run in the same lane.
Yeah, I like it. Brand development.
Yeah.
Fortuitous. We're back to fortuitous. Fortuitous events can lead. Yeah, fortuitous events can lead to positive publicity.
Yes.
And brand recognition.
Yes.
Right. Also being go viral. Some people go viral. There's a girl going viral right now for all the wrong reasons. A lot of people making money off of this. I cannot. I won't repeat what it is, but because you got that look on your eyes, I'll have to show you after the show.
Yeah, please.
But it's going viral for the wrong reasons.
Okay.
So something that she said in a street interview that now is on T-shirts and hats and has gone viral and become a meme around the world. And I'm told, I don't know if this is true, Willie H. I don't know if you read this too, that the father was a pastor of some sort. So what she said was something overtly sexual that's now become a meme and gone. Now, I don't know if that's false. I mean, it's the internet, so that could be false information because that does sound more salacious. But anyway.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah. We want positive publicity and brand recognition. And ultimately, when we talk about branding, trusting the gut instincts can also guide authentic brand development, right? And storytelling that resonates, with the customer, because that's important in terms of attract, detract. And, there are people who, I don't know, our personalities may not be, for them. Right. So they don't listen to the show. Maybe they want some stiffer people, or they want more technical conversation, or they want, more, they want guests and stuff. Right. I get hit up for guests all the time. I'm like, well, we don't have guests. We have co-hosts. we have co-hosts, and sometimes there's guest co-hosts. Right. But keeping it authentic, because nor do we we don't get on set and then go, okay, let's become Cory and Lon podcast people.
Right.
We just sit down and have a conversation. We just sit down. Right. And then Willie H says cut, and then we're like, all right, we're out of here. And so Lon wears that jacket, on the street. So he's the same. It's part of his wardrobe. It's not just the wardrobe room.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, the gut, consistency, the lane, luck. Everything that you talk about, that word fortuitous, and I laugh because, we can use a stroke count. Fortuitous is, when you think of the word fortuitous, you think of good luck.
Yes.
You think of positive outcomes. You think of things that happen in your favor.
Yeah. Yes.
You have to be leaning into that though, in order for things to work in your favor. Now,
that's right.
You can be truly lucky and have something, have pennies fall out of the sky, or you could be walking down the street and find a $20 bill laying on the ground. That, you still got to be smart enough and lean into your gut to pick it up, put it in your pocket.
Yep.
But I think your gut leaning into the things that you feel good about lead to good things happening.
Yep.
And Jeffrey Gitomer said it, and 100 other people have said it too. Hard work makes luck.
Yes.
Are you leaning into hard work, which creates lucky situations for you? Because you're working hard, you're in a position to take advantage of them.
That's right.
It's a growing, feeding, self-fulfilling prophecy almost.
Right.
And so all of these things line up together. And if you're moving in that direction and you're looking for it and you're paying attention to it and you're trusting your gut and you're making decisions based on that, you're going to get these fortuitous opportunities. And here's why. Because people are identifying you with that.
Right.
And then will come to you with these opportunities that they identify are right for you.
Voice
that's all I got.
Of reason. All right, that's all you needed. Well, I will tell you something that this hasn't happened in a while. This has not happened on the Grow Business Podcast in a while. But this conversation is going to have a part 2. We are out of time.
Okay.
Which is good for us because that means people have to come back.
Right.
Because we've talked about all the pros.
Right.
And next week, we're going to talk about the cons.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do, folks. So if you were wondering, whoa, we're going Rogan today.
Right.
We're going to be here 2-3 hours. We are not. We're going to wrap it right there for the pros. Because I think this is a conversation that also needs the full range to breathe.
Yeah. Well, and I think
instead of jamming, I can give you the 7 real quick, but that's not going to be helpful anymore.
All it does is dilute what we've talked about.
Yeah, of course.
And I think what this does is it reinforces the value of the pros and how much pros is in this. Because there's enough of an episode of the cons as well that we will absolutely be able to fill up and take up that and more time. The reality of it is this: I think that if we walk away from this at the end of the pros, think about what you think about. Think about how you trust your feelings and how you trust your gut, and think about what you fight. Right? Are you fighting things because you're worried about what they think?
Yeah. Or
are you leaning into the things that you think are right for you, that your experience tells you that you should keep going? And by doing that, are you creating your own opportunity for luck?
I hope Willie H heard that part right there very specifically. All right, that's going to do it. Thank him, Lon. Thank him for the viewership. Tell them where can they hear the podcast?
Yeah, so thanks for coming and thanks for coming back. And when you come back next time, bring a friend. And when you bring your friend, you can bring him to the YouTube channel, to the Grow Business Podcast on YouTube. Yeah. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on iHeart, and then help me with the rest of them.
Google Play. Yeah. Yeah, we're there. We're everywhere that you want to listen and consume podcasts. And if you haven't done it yet, you need to head over to the new CoryMosley.com. We are helping business owners get positioned for growth. If you've got questions, we've got answers. If you're thinking about the future of your business, maybe you become stuck, stalled, or even stagnant, and you want to get growing again, we've got some proven strategies and support to modernize your business. So head over to CoryMosley.com to learn more about that. And that's it. We appreciate your viewership, as Lon said. I'm Cory Mosley for Willie H. and Lon Graham. This has been the Grow Business Podcast. We'll see you next week. Willie H., take us out. We didn't have a shot at getting to the other. We didn't have a shot at getting to the other part of the list.
I think, though, it turned out this way for all the right reasons.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that there's like that book. I remember when I read Blink from Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah.
And it was at a time where I was really paying attention to some of that stuff.
Right.
And your gut, he gets more scientific about it.
Of course.
But your gut really is based on the things that you know and that you can trust.
Yeah.
And you're right more often than not. And that 15-second read, he's got all kinds of data that shows that you're right more than not when you pay attention to that.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah.
Smarty.
Smarty.
Good show, man. Good show.
Thank you. Good job.